Good evening, Dbacks fans. Welcome on in to another exciting episode of Dbacks Dispatch, this time with the full trio, Gabe, Brandon, and myself, Brett. We appreciate you guys tuning on in here on your Wednesday evenings to spend some time with us. If this is your first time in here, join on again if you're on the YouTube side. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Really helps out the algorithm. If you are on Apple or Spotify, I would appreciate if you guys leave us a rating, whatever you feel like we are worth, whether 1 star, whether to 5 stars, whatever you feel like we are worthy star wise, or however the rating systems work. Make sure you guys leave us a rating. It does help and go a long way there. Also, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram if you have not already. And I say it all the time, but if you've not yet joined the Discord, what are you doing? Join the Discord. It's our pinned tweet. It's also in the description here in the YouTube video, so make sure you guys go join the Discord. And then also, finally, go to azsnakepit.com. Check out all the great written content they have over there. Daily breakdowns, recaps as well. We also got some written content for our podcast, so if you need a little bit more dispatch in your life, that is the place to do it, along with a lot of great writers and great content. Again, azsnakepit.com. But like I said, we are here to dive into what was actually a pretty exciting series win that could have unfortunately been a sweep, but a little bit more on that in a minute here. Over the Texas Rangers, who are also, a competing team. So, hey, not saying the playoffs are fully back on the menu yet, but the fat lady has not yet sung. But kind of just to dive in on here, we'll go with kind of chronological order, obviously with all the games. Game one, it was looking really good there. The D-backs kind of jumped out in front on Nathan Eovaldi. He had not surrendered, I think, a home run in Globe Life Field since like April, and they hit 4 off of him. Locklear, Carroll, Perdomo, or sorry, 3 off of him, and Blaze had one a little bit later. But Locklear, Carroll, Perdomo, and Blaze all had a home run for themselves. Locklear, Carroll, and Perdomo all went 2 for 5. So some really solid offense, but pretty much the home run was the only offense we got from them, which was they went 1 for 10. And usually those kind of numbers right there, again, 6 runs just from home runs would normally be enough for, especially with the way Ryan Nelson has been going. But he was not the typical Ryan Nelson we've seen the last few weeks. He got touched up a little bit. He went 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 Ks, and 1 home run. That 1 home run being a really big home run from Wyatt Langford that got the Rangers right back in the game. He did have 13 whiffs though, which was pretty nice. And 80 of his 97 pitches were forcing fastballs. So again, he's just using that fastball. Maybe leaned on it a little bit too much there, but when you got a good enough fastball like he does, can't really blame him. Like I said, the team did have a chance to at least start the series off with a win, and in hindsight, would have turned out to be a sweep here. But Hoffman was let out to the 9th inning to try to get a 6-out save. Again, a rookie trying to get a 6-out save. Never unheard of, but he didn't look too sharp there. Left a changeup right down the middle to fucking Rowdy Tellez. Game-tying home run from Tellez made it 6-6, and then it's extra inning D-backs. It's literally coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb. D-backs can't do anything. Shocking, questionable bullpen management. No, that would never happen. But like I said, D-backs drop another one in extra innings. They did bounce back in game 2 though. This one was a lot closer than. I guess all these games were pretty close, but this one not as high scoring. It was a 3-2 affair. D-backs were behind most of it. DeSclafani started this one. Didn't look terrible. Went 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So really, I'd say probably what you could ask for from Disco. Just keep the team in the game. Woodford, a guy that usually we kind of give some flack to because he's not the greatest. He actually stepped up in this one, providing some much needed relief out of the bullpen. He went 3 1/3, only gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts with no runs allowed. So that was really good for Woodford. Blaze stayed blazing hot in the season. Went 1 for 3 with his 4th homer on the season. Is now hitting 341, 460, 683 for an 1143 OPS with 4 bombs, 9 ribbies, 5 walks, and 13 strikeouts in August alone. The D-backs kind of got back into things there in the later innings. Herrera had a single that turned in him going to second because of a very baffling play by Garcia, and later scored on a Ketel Marte RBI single. And then Ketel Marte was not yet done being the hero, as in the 9th inning, he hit a 2-out, 2-strike go-ahead home run that went 445 feet and 111.7 miles an hour off the bat. Gave the D-backs a 3-2 lead, which, again, we all know with this bullpen, a 1-run lead is never enough, but thankfully it was, as Juan Murillo got his first career save with a 1-2-3 9th inning, and Ketel was a big part of that one as well. He just left his mark all over this game with a stellar diving play to keep the Rangers from getting any momentum there in the 9th inning. And then moving on into game 3 here, the rubber match, obviously, again, with the team splitting the first 2 games, this would be the deciding factor whether, maybe the D-backs could continue potentially getting back to over 500. And it was a matchup that I think a lot of us were a little bit heartbroken to see. just for who we were going up against, is those Gallen versus the mainstay. Gallen went 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 1K on 98 pitches. Gave up a home run to Mr. Berger. I think Jake Berger, yeah, not Danny Burgers. Jake Berger's 61 strikes. And then because, again, Merrill Kelly was a D-back for so long, I at least got to highlight him. He looked really solid, probably his best start he's had since joining the Rangers. He went 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Did give up a home run as father beat his son with a baseball bat. Domo with the solo shot there. D-backs had a chance to tie things up, and it looked like there would have been another run, or at least a chance for another run added on to his outing for Merrill. But Larkin, who should not be employed as third base coach next season, made another questionable send. As Ketel was gunned out at home by miles, like it was not even a close play. But thankfully, the D-backs did not go quite into this one. It was looking a little bit bleak there. The Rangers got one in the 8th inning, made it a 4-2 ball game, and the D-backs with 2 strikeouts to start the 9th inning. But two-out magic, man. James McCann started things off. He had a solo shot on a just absolute hanging sweeper, made it 3-4. Blaze got hit by a pitch, and then for some reason the Rangers didn't want to face Geraldo Perdomo, and they chose to face Ketel Marte, who's been absolutely scorching hot. More on him in a second. And it really backfired for them. Ketel went had a 3-run shot, 413 feet, 105.7 off the bat. His 4th hit on the day. Now he has 12 home runs in the 9th inning since 2024, which leads the MLB. So he is absolutely clutch when it matters. And just like I said, he's been hot in his last 7. He's 11 for 27. His slash is 407, 500, 704. He's got 2 home runs, 10 RBI, 4 walks, and only 1 strikeout. And over his last 15, a little bit of a bigger sample size, he's 21 for 59, 356, 433, 559 for a 992 OPS, 3 dingers, 13 RBIs, 7 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So it's always nice to see him get more walks and strikeouts. And then once again, the D-backs, it was a little bit of a bigger lead, but it's still a 2-run lead. Feels like game is borderline tied with his bullpen. But once again, we didn't have to worry about it. Saul Frank went 1-2-3 in the 9th inning for his, I believe, first career save as well, or at least the first one this season. He is now at a .64 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP in 14 innings this year with 9 Ks and 5 walks. So pretty solid start to Mr. Gambler here in 2025. And then a fun stat there that I believe was either from Jack Summers or one of the other D-backs writers. There's now 14 different Diamondbacks pitchers that have saves this year. Miller's obviously the bulk of them with 10. JMR, before he got injured, he had 5. Puck had 4. Stinky Ginky with 3. D. Scafani has 2, surprisingly. And then Saul Frank, Kyle Nelson, Mario Jarvis, Dre, Ryan Thompson, Ryan Nelson, Beeks, and Backus all have 1. And while that sounds, at least like, oh, hey, you know what? We have a bunch of arms we can rely on. Not really. They're 33 and 55 in save chances, but doesn't matter in the end here because the D-backs do get that win there. We are so back. We have never been more back. And they take this series and win 2-3 against a very playoff hopeful team, the Rangers, who have been pretty solid. But there's been a lot to digest there. Obviously, game 1, we'll probably talk about here with some of the bullpen management there. The D-backs blowing a 5-0 lead. Game 2 and even game 3 with Ketel heroics. And some pretty solid pitching performances, both some, a lot of the guys out of the bullpen and some really solid plays overall. But kind of looking at everything here, what stood out to you in each one of these games, game 1, 2, 3? What did you kind of want to hone in on here for discussion here on this series win?
So, I mean, I don't want to go fully negative here, but it is the runners in scoring position. I think it's a pretty big issue. I think if there's a lot of times that we've talked about, like the fact that a win is a win. Like it doesn't matter how it happens, a win is a win. But when you see stats like the runners in scoring position, I believe in the first 2 games there were like 1 in 17 or something stupid like that. Like it was crazy. When you see something like that, but the fact that they actually won this series, you know, there's always a common saying that said, good teams win ugly. And these were all ugly games, I think. And I wish they would have been able to complete the sweep because I would feel a lot better than I do right now. I'm not going to say they went on a fluke, but
those numbers are way worse, by the way. It's 2 for 28 in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's the extra innings and all that. I probably forgot to count for that. 2 for 28. Yeah. So when you look at numbers like that, it's one of those things that does feel a little bit concerning about the direction this team is going. Like they did, to quote Skip Bayless, unleash and unload all over the Colorado Rockies, but those runners in score position numbers didn't really look, all that great either, even against them. So I know we want to be a little hopeful, have some hopium but that is something this team needs to address quickly because they can't rely on Ketel homering in the ninth inning every single game because, like Brandon mentioned in our group chat, like at some point he's gonna get benched in this upcoming series just because that's just the way Torrey plays him. Um, so I don't know. Like I'm happy they took the series. I'm getting a little bit more excited about this team. There's certain guys that I'm getting excited to see as well. Like Blaze. Blaze is, like you guys mentioned in the last episode, just been blazing it up. He's really, really solid. Hopefully it lasts. I mean, we saw this last year in the first couple of months of the season. They just could not get him out, and then he just had a massive drop off once they adjusted to him. So hopefully that's not the case here. He can, keep hitting the way he has been down the stretch, and it could make things interesting. Cattell, I believe we mentioned it. Might have been in one of the podcasts with just either me and Brandon. I think we might have talked about Cattell a little bit. Um, he does have he at the time at least he had like the same OPS plus, but there was a clear lack of power that he's hasn't had this season, and so it was nice to see him actually hit for power in a way that we hadn't really seen him just completely taking over a game because I don't think we've truly seen that this season. Like I can't remember a game where you're like, oh wow, like Cattell took over this game, like the way Devin Booker or Chris Paul would take over a game, and that's what he did in yesterday's game, just making a great defensive play in the ninth, and then also hitting that go-ahead home run. And today too, just carrying this team on his back, doing everything he can, especially after committing an error, he was still able to recover. They didn't score, I believe, from that error, but same thing. There's a lot of good in this series, some bad. Same with the defensive mistakes and the runs in score position. That's two things that you need to, you know, be able to address because the Rockies, and especially playing in Coors Field, those mistakes can add up really, really quickly in Coors compared to Texas. So they really got to shape up if they want to make things competitive because, like Jeff was saying in the comments, they go 31-10. I mean, I do think 31-10 is a little bit harder just because they're also down a starter right now. Disclafani's on the, I believe, 10-day IL. So we don't know exactly when he's going to be back and who's going to be called up if they're going to do a bullpen game for one of those games. Erod hasn't looked good. Gallon has been Gallon. So 31-10 is a little difficult. It can happen. But again, they need to address these issues. But even like you mentioned in the comments, Brandon, because the way the Mets are playing and the way Cincinnati's playing, like there's I think a little bit more wiggle room than originally was seen. I think we're all expecting about 90 wins. Now it seems to be anywhere from 84 to about 88 wins, and that could just be enough of a window for this team to be able to back into a playoff spot. There's a lot of teams that are falling off, which is my problem with Hazen just saying that they're sellers right away before the trade deadline. I mean, they're only 4 games behind the wild card spot when he said that, and so that was my problem at that time. It was just frustrating to see him just declare them sellers when it's like, well, after the All-Star break, a lot of teams fall off. Look at the Cubs. PCA has been completely non-existent. Like, there's a lot of having that week off does make or break a lot of teams, and we see it year after year after year. A couple years back, when the Braves went to the World Series, the Mets had a 10-game lead in their division. Everyone declared that division over. They came roaring back after the All-Star break. Right now, the Padres, after the All-Star break, have been great. Dodgers are falling off a bit. So that's what always had frustrated me. And for me, honestly, most of the moves didn't piss me off the way the Shelby Miller one did because I'm like, oh, we need bullpen help. Like, we didn't get anything for him, and we just sold him off. And there's a lot of writers online, and as Tori calls them, common fans, keyboard warriors, who are saying like, oh, well, they're going to reinvest that money into the team. And then last week, Uncle Ken was just like, yeah, we're cutting payroll, so he's just going to pocket those extra $3 million, and we're without Shelby Miller for the rest of the season, and he's going to be closing out games or playing in the seventh for the Milwaukee Brewers. But yeah, and I think overall it is starting to get a little bit more exciting if they're able to complete the sweep of the Rockies. They are a game above 500, so how Bubba was saying in the comments and Tommy Jr., don't do that. Don't give me hope. um, but for me, I want competitive baseball coming into September. You don't want to get to September, and the first week of September, and they're completely out of the playoffs. They've been eliminated, and at that point, you're kind of just like, It's not, you want to see guys develop, but if they're not calling up Jordan Lawler, if they're not calling up any of these young guys in the farm system, it kind of just feels like you're running through the motions.
Yeah, so I do agree with you on keeping competitive baseball going through September, because again, most of the state then has to turn to being excited about the Cardinals, and that's never a fun time for any Arizona Cardinals fan because I don't think anybody enjoys watching that team
for about a month. For about a month, and then they all let us down.
In the good old fashioned Arizona Cardinals way that they do. But yeah, say there's there is I do agree, especially the hopium. Like I like the idea of it, but then it just opens up the possibilities for more heartbreak. But I do fully agree on the side of like the Miller trade. Like looking back on it, that would be a really nice piece. Like we wouldn't need to worry about Woodford. Like yes, I get Woodford's pretty much our long relief guy, but still we wouldn't really need to worry about him kind of being in the bullpen. And while Shelby wasn't perfect, he did have a few kind of heart attack saving outings here and there. At least he was a little bit more consistent. He was having a pretty solid season. Yeah. Toronto, the one against the Phillies, where I believe he got 2 outs and then just gave up like a bomb to Schwarber and then a couple hits for the Phillies to tie it up there. Which again, they did end up winning that one, so it didn't really matter as much. But still, like hasn't been perfect, but overall, at least it was like that graphic showed he did have 10 saves, so he was our, I guess, quote unquote most reliable closer so far this year. But I just kind of to stay on the positive. I do think that there was the whole thing about Ketel showing a little bit more power. I think that's a really big key because I know Ketel obviously missed that month or so maybe that kind of factors into the home run numbers. But the fact that he has less home runs than Corbin Carroll, who also did miss a little bit of time as well. So I don't know if the at bats necessarily balance out because I think Ketel still is like 50 to maybe like 75 at bats less than Corbin, maybe even a little bit more at this point. But still, it's nice to see him kind of turn into that MVP form. And it was also nice because today I was sitting at work doing some stuff like, oh cool, we're gonna lose this series 3-2. I'm glad I got my hopes up. And then I check our group chat, I just see somebody, I think it was Gabe, that was like MVP, and I'm like, I'm assuming Ketel did something, and then check the box score, and indeed had that clutch shot. But before passing to Brandon again, want to shout out all you guys in the comments here, Jeff, Bubba, Tommy. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning on in here. Always a pleasure to see you guys in here. But Brandon, passing it on to you, what kind of stood out to you here in the series, whether it was Blaze, which, by the way, shout out to Bubba and our man Josh, who did a little bit of a collab post, made a really, really cool Blaze Alexander edit. So if you guys have not seen that graphic yet, go to Bubba's Twitter or even go to, I believe, our Twitter as well. I believe we retweeted it.
Instagram as well.
Yeah.
It's on both, so
it's a super cool graphic. Bubba and our boy Josh is absolutely cooked on there. But Brandon, passing it on to you, what kind of stood out to you in the series, whether it's the good or bad? I know that bullpen management there, kind of in game one there, stuck out to a lot of us, especially. It's the typical. I mean, 33 saves out of 55 opportunities. Even Jesse Friedman had a tweet where the Dbacks are 8-4 since the deadline, and 3 of those 4 losses were leads that they had, or games that they had leads into the late innings, especially 2 of them being 9th inning losses. What kind of stood out to you here in the series down in Texas, where I still have Vietnam flashbacks in?
First of all, I hate how spacious that stadium is. It's so large. Like, there were so many fly balls. I'm like, oh, that's a homer. Next thing I see, freaking Alec Thomas is just jogging, I'm like, that's such a spacious outfield. But he's used to it because that's how it is. Like, it's not that spacious at Chase Field, but there's a lot of ground to cover, and Alec is very, very used to it. The fact that Ryan Nelson, 97 pitches, 80 of them were his four-seam fastball. And I think that's what caused the issue with the Wyatt Langford. Like, he's been spamming it. And it works most of the time because a lot of guys say is they can't pick it up. And they pick it up, but it's too late, so they can't get to it. And I just think Wyatt Langford was able to time it up. A lot of people were actually clowning Torrey for leaving him out there too long. I didn't have a problem with that because he's been our most reliable starter for like the last 2 months. So why not let him continue to pitch?
And the same people clowning him for that are the same ones that got mad at him for not leaving Ryan in for his last start.
Right. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves people have is it does not matter the decision that Torrey makes, he will be clowned. Now, again, there's some of them, yes, clown him for. This one, I disagree. I think he made the right choice. You stick with your guy here. He's been your best guy all year. Now, the one with Hoffman coming out to pitch a second inning after only having 10 pitches in the 8th inning, that one I don't get, especially with facing 2 of the 3 batters were lefties. So that one sucked. And then also, they need to have some sort of game plan for extra innings because, dear God,
It's horrific.
it doesn't matter home or away. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke that they do not get. They don't get anything done. Like it's a joke. Like they don't anything. I think I saw a stat from Alex Weiner. This is like it's happened multiple times. This team hits 4 homers, has at least 10 hits, and still loses, and that's what happened in Game 1. So I mean, I feel great about my prediction. I think Gabe had it too that Jerry's going to hit 15 home runs. I think he's going to get that. I really hope he gets 100 runs driven in. It's pretty bold because I think he's about 80 right now. So I think it's doable. I really do. So we'll have to see. I was really impressed with Woodford. Not going to lie. I thought when he was brought in, I'm like, oh, well, this one's over. He's not going to give up like 3 or 4 runs. No. 1 hit, 1 walk, and 3 1/3. Like that kept us in the game. So really, really impressive. But like, there's like, Ketel Marte is just. I think he's already 3rd on the list of best D-back of all time. I personally think that he has had more of an impact to this team than Goldie. I know that's a bold take, and I think by his career end, I think Marte could be second behind Randy. I don't think there's any way. The only way he passes Randy is if he brings us multiple World Series before his end. I think that's the only way he passes Randy.
Even if he does that, I personally don't think anyone's passing Randy. Just because, like, again, looking at that contract,
it's literally
you're not gonna pass up what he did.
Yeah.
It'll be like a 1A1.
Did he win the 4 in a row here? The Cy Youngs?
Four Cy Youngs in a row.
Right.
He was
Yeah,
a D-back.
so
that's why I say like probably 3 worlds. If he brings us 3 in the remaining of his contract, I think it's a discussion.
I'll be happy with 1. Just give me 1.
Right? Like just give me 1. A lot of people, I don't get it, have Schilling 3. I probably just hate the guy. But it's like, yes, he was on the World Series team, but I think Randy was more helpful in that. So
there's a reason why he got co-MVP with Randy. He was a big pivotal piece too.
Yeah, which I get. Gallen today, outside of the meatball homer to Jake Berger, I thought he pitched pretty well. So again, it wasn't a quality start. It wasn't a fantastic, but he kept us in the game. That's all I want from Gallen at this point is allow us a chance to win the game. Like, don't blow it. Don't do what we get with Erod, where we're like, yeah, we're probably going to be down 4-0 by the 4th inning. So it's still so weird seeing Kelly pitch against us. Very, very weird. But he still had the Diamondbacks experience, though. Leaves the game with a lead, and his bullpen blows it. So he's just like, I cannot get away from this. The Larkin send is very odd. I get why he sent him. The guy playing right field was a utility infielder who doesn't play a lot of outfield. So he was banking on the fact that he wouldn't make a great throw. But if things just don't go our way this year and we don't make the playoffs, I think Larkin is the first that's got to go.
Even if we make the playoffs, I don't think he should be a third base coach next year. Like, keep him moving to some other role, but like he should not be the third base coach. He's had too many.
Because he's had too many nonsense. He's had too many sends. Like he's so like you can tell he doesn't know what he's doing, and it sucks. I would love to hear what that conversation is with like actually what Torey, because Torey's thoughts on players and coaches is different in the media than it is in the clubhouse, and I would love to hear his true thoughts on certain things. But, they can't really say that out in the media. But I would truly like to hear his thoughts on Kaplan as well. Um, I think Kaplan's been doing a decent job of late. With everything, like with a lot of these young guys that we brought up. Burgos today was effectively wild. Like he was all over the place, but got the job done, which to me is all I care about. If Murillo can pitch like he did in game two in every outing, I'm okay with him in the ninth because his stuff is that good. But we know how basically Frias and J Mart when they first came up, just all over the place. So
Yeah, say it's definitely nice to see him at least have some control because that was the bad thing about Frias, is he could throw hard, but he just could not actually like locate in the zone. And Maria has that problem from time to time. But if he can actually, locate it, I would be okay with either Frias or again. I know it's only 14 innings, but Frank's been looking pretty solid there, and again, especially today. Um, those two are probably the ones that, at least for right now, maybe even Backus. I know Backus had that blown save against the Padres, but I still think he's a really effective lefty. I think he might be a little bit more funky than just a guy like Frank. But yeah, say Maria, if he could kind of unlock, that kind of second form and do what he did in game two here more often, then I think if not even a closer, at least a really solid eighth inning guy until we get J Mart and Puck back from injury. And even Jeff is saying in the chat here, Mario at least has electric closer stuff, especially for those extra innings with a runner on second base. You need to strike out. That's very true. You need some swing and miss. You can't always rely on just some soft contact because that's when you deal with a runner is moved over. Like if you with the way the D-backs are going, if they're the away team, all the opposing team is going to need to do is get a bunt and a sacrifice fly because we're not scoring in the top half, and you don't even need a hit to beat them. You just literally just need a bunt and a deep in a fly ball, because we don't other than Gurriel every now and then we don't really have any arms in the outfield, so it's not like we can really throw anybody out. But yeah, so it was nice to see them kind of finally win two against the Rangers here, which I don't know if they did last year. It would have been great to see them win two in a series against the fucking Rangers in the 2023 World Series, but can't go back and change the past. Sorry, I'm still salty, especially those fuckers. 2 years after the World Series, and they're giving away a Corey Seager bobblehead of his World Series speech on fucking Monday night, like a Monday night bobblehead giveaway, with his World Series speech. You fucking cucks. God damn, I'm glad Nelson Cruz did what he did in 2011. Fuck you. Sorry, I'm sorry. Rant over. But I know one of our three of the trio here has to get out of here soon because he's gonna go hit some dingers in a men's league. But Gabe, I want to get some opinions and thoughts from you because I know with the Colorado series coming up, you're a certified ball knower. You're Nostradamus. So is there anything you're looking forward to? Because we'll discuss a little bit more of the series as well going forward. But I at least wanted to get some predictions and thoughts from you on this upcoming series in this 4-gamer for Colorado. Just so then, if something does come to fruition, we can always look back on this and be like, see, Gabe is always the certified ball knower.
So I am expecting Ketel to go off in this series. I mean, I was expecting him to at least, stat pad a little bit against Colorado the last. I mean, he kind of did, just didn't really hit too many home runs. So he's got the home run stroke going right now, and that's the thing that we've been waiting to see, just for Ketel to go on those unconscious just runs that he does of 2 or 3 weeks where he's just unstoppable. And I think he's at that point in this season right now. And I compared if you can look at it on Twitter, I compared last season to this season before he got injured. It's eerily similar. So I can see him going on a run where he's at 23 home runs right now. At the end of this weekend, 27 home runs, 28 home runs. Like I can see him getting up there and actually making this MVP race competitive again. I know the only issue is just going to be the fact that Ohtani has 30 more games than him, especially with the way he's going to be used, I think, in this series. I think he needs to DH at least twice. He needs to be in this lineup no matter what. And I know that they rest him, but I do think he needs to DH instead. I'm expecting him to show out, expecting ADC to come out of his shell a little bit more. He has been hitting a lot better, but I think I wanted to see his power stroke, and also the one guy I need to see more of and need to see him be better because there's a man waiting in the wings to take his spot right now, and that's
ADC.
Locklear.
Oh.
No, Locklear has he has gotten some hits here and there. Still hasn't, he
Pretty
looks a little
underwhelming.
overmatched. He has been looking pretty overmatched, and he is almost a 26-year-old rookie. He's been, his first real time in the big leagues, and there's a reason why he was down there for so long. So hopefully he's able to put some hits together, because in a couple of weeks, or if not a week from now, Pavin Smith should be activated. Gabriel Moreno should be activated. So there might not be a lot of time for Locklear to spend up here and show what he's got. If he goes off in the series, he's able to put some good defensive gems and then be able to hit some home runs. I do think he should be able to at least lengthen his stay in the big leagues. But if not, we can. I think we can maybe expect him to be the first name that's not DFA sent down to Reno in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
But anyway,
especially
I gotta
because
go.
you're going.
Have fun,
So
sir.
go ahead some
Take
dingers.
care. Thank you, everybody.
Throw some
For
gas.
tuning
Throw
in.
better than John Woodford.
I will. All right. Bye.
Peace out, Gabe. But yeah, so wish Gabe well in his men's league tonight, because again he's doing kind of what the D-backs do with a lot of their guys. You're getting one of those pickups off of the waiver wire. He's gonna go in there and try to prove himself. But yeah, I think Gabe makes a lot of good points with Ketel, Locklear. I think those are two names, but we'll kind of dive into those a little bit more later when we kind of do the rest of our series preview, series predictions, and whatnot. We just again wanted to get Gabe's thoughts here before he dips on out, because again he's going to be a busy man here and there. But kind of going back a little bit to Brandon, you were bringing up you and Gabe kind of predicting Perdomo having 15 home runs. Looking at his stats, this truly is a power breakout, because one more home run and he will tie his career total going into this year. Like he had
Not his career high. You said his total.
He had a total of 14 home runs going into the season. He now has 27 on his career, obviously with 13 this year so far. He had 5 in 2022. He had 6 in 23. He had 3 in 24. And with already at 13 again, if he gets to 15, that'll literally be more in one season than he's hit in his entire career, which is around, I'm gonna do some quick math, almost 1,200 at bats in a major leaguer, and he's gonna probably pass that number in around 550 at bats. So it's very impressive. I know we talked a lot about Perdomo last episode, so we won't go super long on him, but that was just a fun stat that I saw there. That kind of I just kind of got a chuckle out of me. But looking back here again, some of our other comments again, we appreciate you guys tuning on in here. Going back to that conversation about Ketel being the second best of all time, or Brandon saying he's going to be the second best of all time. Bubba's kind of in the same agreement here, saying that nobody's going to pass Randy and that Ketel is 2 for him. If we does go on to also say if we win the World Series in 23, Ketel is second on the all-time D-backs list, and I can't disagree, honestly. I think that'd be definitely going up there. And I know when you said he's better, maybe done more things than Goldie, I was originally like, I don't know, but then looking back on it, he was the NLCS MVP because we had a deeper run with Ketel where we never really went that deep. Pause with Paul Goldschmidt on this roster. Obviously, 2011 we get stopped by the Brewers, which I still will hate the Brewers for that.
Yep.
For that heartbreak there. And then 2017 getting swept by the Dodgers. So didn't really do too much with Goldie, and it did seem like, especially at the times, again, I love Goldie, but in the playoffs specifically, other than that one grand slam, didn't really have like too much of a clutch factor, like a clutch sheen. Seemed like he kind of struggled a little bit, especially that's why he kind of coughed up that MVP in 2017. And if it wasn't for JD Martinez, we might have just missed out on the playoffs. So I think that's a good conversation, something that we can look back on in a few years and be like, yeah, Ketel might have easily surpassed Goldie as number 2, but still definitely a guy, him, Goldie, Randy, and even Gonzo, because I saw a thing on Twitter from our man Corlick Thomas. 4 guys that definitely deserve, if they're going to put some statues outside of Chase Field, those are 4 guys that they need some statues, and I can already think of some poses. I think Gonzo's one when after he hit the walk-off against Rivera when he's got his arms in the air celebrating. I think that one's pretty good. Randy's would be, in my opinion, his 20 strikeout game, I believe, when he's like, or maybe after his perfect game, like getting hugged by Damian Miller, or after his 20 strikeout, it's kind of both hands up in the air. Ketel would definitely be his just his stance, his no doubter against the Dodgers, when he just kind of hits there and just has his bat hanging down there like his third leg. And then Goldie, I would say, he's not the flashiest guy. Obviously, didn't really have any like pimps there, or didn't really pimp too many home runs. But I could see maybe like a follow through on his swing. Or maybe just his stance in general, but definitely some guys that deserves some statues here. But Jeff's bringing it up in the comments because we were talking about, Juan Murillo and some of our closer things back in the bullpen. Like even Gabe talked about why he didn't wish Shelby Miller was traded. Jeff saying, here's some fire for your veins. What if Drake comes back and gets a legitimate run as closer? Talk about a guy that could seize an opportunity, went down with a bone chip, not requiring surgery. And I think that's a great point. He might need a little bit, hopefully the team is still in it because I think he'll probably need a few innings. I'm not sure, Jeff, you probably know more. I don't think he's back in Reno yet, or at least isn't doing any rehab innings. So he'll need probably at least a week or two of some innings to kind of like build back up. But hey, that'd be a shot in the veins that this team would definitely need, and at least would go a long way. Again, I know he's a little bit more of an unproven guy, but would go a little bit of a long way. Would go a long way of maybe giving us a little bit more of some depth out of that bullpen there. But any other thoughts on the series, Brandon? Like I said, I know you kind of you touched on a lot of things here, especially the bullpen management there, the sending from Sean Larkin, Domo beating his son with the bat, all that stuff. Anything else that stood out to you that you wanted to kind of mention and bring up here?
I just want Blaze to continue blazing along. I know we've talked about it the last series, but I've been really impressed with how well he's been playing, and I just want him to continue to thrive. Because when he first came up this year, played hot for a week or so, then he cooled off for 2 weeks, but now he's heated up again, which is what I want to see with these young guys. I'm like, yeah, you might do well to start. Teams will adjust to you. You adapt back. That's why Corbin is Corbin, really, because he's always adapting to what teams are trying to do to him. So I really hope that Blaze can continue to do that. His defense has been decent enough. It's not like Gold Glove caliber. Like he does make some plays where you're like, what? And then he makes that one play, I think it was Tuesday against the Padres, just dive for the bag to get the force out. Like that type of thing is what I want to see. I am getting a little worried about Locklear. He just looks lost at the plate. But the thing is, we have no one else right now to play first base. That might change in a week. Because Pavin Smith is down in Reno right now, along with Vargas, for their rehabs. To be honest, I thought Vargas was done for the year. I had no idea that he had a shot at coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see what moves are made when Gabby's healthy, Pavin's healthy, and Vargas is healthy. I was looking at the roster. What I want to happen is DFA Jose Herrera for Gabby. Send down Connor Kaiser for Vargas. And then, I know they like having a bunch of outfield. We don't need Jorge Barosa. Send him. I know you guys want a bunch of outfielders, but if we can continue to play, if we continue to play or send down Jake, I mean, either one of them, Barosa or Jake, it doesn't make a real difference to me. They're both pretty trash right now.
Jake's at least Jake a little bit more consistent. He has a few hits here and there. Not the greatest, but his OPS in the season is still almost 200 points higher than Barosa's, and Jake's OPS is 547. So
Jake is better offensively, but Barosa is a really good defender, and I know this team really likes defense. So I found a couple of things, and we brought it up before. We brought up, how we try to compare ourselves to the Tigers from last year. Dear Lord, there's a lot of similarities. The first game of the second half, both of us have won, and our records at the time, 48-50. On this date last year,
hold on, my thing started ringing and I just can't hear anything now. I hope my headphones didn't just go out. That'd be the most. No, I can hear music. I'll make sure if my thing is going through because I can't hear you yet. So just keep on going. I think it might be your mic, Brandon. It might be your mic because I don't know if the chat can hear you either. If you need to switch your mic to maybe your laptop or something else that you have. Because I can hear music and it looks like my stuff is fine, but
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes, I think we're good.
Okay, yeah. Yep. Sorry, guys. Well, that freaking sucks.
So what were you saying? You're talking about
Yeah.
you found some interesting stats.
Yeah, so like how we brought up kind of a couple times us, and we're very similar to the Tigers. Like we like to say, "Oh, look what the Tigers did last year. They sold at the trade deadline and they made the playoffs." There's a lot of similarities there. So to start the second half, we both were 48 and 50. On this date, Tigers were 57 and 63. We're 49 and 62. So, hold on, I want to take down that. So, like, there's a lot of... My only concern is our bullpen. It's been an issue all year with blowing lead. Like, I saw some... I think it was, 29 blown... Or was it 39? It was some outrageous number of the amount of blown leads. And I'm like, you reduced that by 5. And we're in a good spot for the wild card. So, I still slightly believe because we're playing well for the most. Like we'll have like 1 or 2 clunkers. Like we'll like kind of versus San Diego. Like we kind of didn't look that great, but we're one good decision this series from sweeping. We just swept the Rockies. We play the Rockies again. Like, we also are playing the Giants 6 times in September, and they're like that offense has fallen off a cliff. We play the Twins 3 times. Like,
this is the time to do it because the end of the season schedule is not kind to us. I know we talked a little bit about it last episode. It's going to get rough.
So, like I said, if we can be 3 games back at the final wild card on September 1st. September could be really, really interesting. So, now it is going to be good to see in about 2 weeks, September 1st, we do get 2 additional players. So I'm very curious as to who does this team call up. Jeff Irving brings up a solid candidate. Call up Ivan Melendez to hit some tanks. He is Rule 5 eligible this season, so it would be a good time to see what they got. He has an 889 OPS in Reno. He's really cut down on his chase rate, which is the big thing we were all worried. Like, that was the big thing where I was like, until he works on that, he's no more better than De Los Santos. But it looks like he has worked on that. So I'm like, that's a great candidate for a full-time DH. Like, he's prime candidate. So yeah, like this was I had set myself up that this was going to be a loss today. I really did. I was like, we're going to lose by 1 because this team just in the 9th inning. And then Marte's like, hold my beer because I'm about to show you some stuff. Like our man Scott says here, Marte is the man. Let's ride that hot bat. And I agree.
Oh, yeah, let's ride that hot bat all night long, baby. Sorry, pause. Need a pause in there.
So, yeah. No. I thought they've been playing a lot better. And, like, I've said this before, and we've said before, expectations is like a curse to this team. You have expectations, they don't perform well. You have low expectations, we've seen kind of what we've seen the last 2 weeks. And it's like, why does that matter?
Yes, the kind of going back into what you're talking about with like the scary similarities with the Padres or the Dbacks and the Tigers last year. It makes me kind of think of it seems like they're just kind of copying other teams' homework from previous seasons because I know I mentioned it last year with what was going on and I kind of compared what happened in 2024 to what happened with the Padres in 2023. We all know the Padres in 2022 had a really nice playoff run. Got stopped by the Phillies in the NLCS, but they looked really good. Looked like they were, and they'd spent a bunch of money. Obviously, I believe they traded for Soto, or like they had Soto in that one. So I believe they were holding on to him, so they still had him for another season. They looked like they were going to be a really solid squad, but then they just kind of got in their own way. Barely missed out in the playoffs by like 1 or 2 games because they just had such a tough hole to climb out of in the beginning of the year. And there's just so many similarities between the 2023 Padres and the 2024 Dbacks. And now, especially post-deadline, we're kind of seeing some similarities between the 2024 Tigers and the 2025 Dbacks. At least this one's a little bit more positive. Obviously, we know that the Tigers, their run got stopped by the Guardians there because they kind of only really had Tarek Skubal in their offense. But who knows? It'd be fun to see if they could do the exact same thing, make the playoffs. But I do agree with Brandon. It would be very sketchy to see, even if they can fight and claw their way into a playoff spot. I do not trust this bullpen in the slightest. Like I don't even trust them in a regular season game against the fucking Colorado Rockies. I don't trust them against a playoff team. But the one thing I will say, at least with this post-deadline, obviously I know we've had some tough series here, like getting swept by, or not even just post-deadline, but post-All-Star break, I should say. I know we've had some tough series, obviously getting swept by the Astros, losing that series to the Pirates. The one thing that at least has been positive is, I would say, maybe other than like 1 or 2 here and there, every game has been either close or a winnable one. And yes, it does hurt because of those blown games, but to me, it's just a great sign because even like Jeff said in our comments earlier, I'm looking for the exact comment it was. Let me find it. Oh yeah, D-backs only playing like this because they sold. Their greatest play usually comes when they are underdogs. And I mentioned a few times in the pod, and I do fully agree that I think when the target is on their back, when they kind of have everyone's eyes on them, when they have those, I know Tori doesn't like to use expectations, but when they have those expectations of being a playoff team and being a top team in the league, they kind of get in their own way. They don't play the greatest defense. They don't have the greatest at bats. They make some silly mistakes on the base paths. Where now there's no expectations. Where it's like, hey man, you guys were sellers. Anything, if you guys can get over 500, if you can just make, even like Gabe said, the end of September or the end of August and even going into September, some meaningful baseball games, then to me that's a win in my book. I know it's moral wins and moral victories aren't the just the greatest here, but anything we can is just good. And again, it's not over. The fat lady has not yet sung, and we're definitely trending in the right direction. And especially you flip a few of those games here and there since the deadline. Some of the games against the Padres, some of the games against the Pirates there, even a game or two against the Tigers, and we're over 500. We're a game or two back of the wild card. Can't change the past, but if they can continue playing like this, it'll be very good. But and then one more thing on the Locklear, I do fully agree too, because this will kind of lead into our transition to the Rockies. We'll break down that pitching matchup in a second, but I do fully agree that this year's will probably be the, I guess, not make or break for Locklear, but I think this will really cement in their mind, like, hey, you know what? He's got some options. We can send him down, or because it's a hitter-friendly park, maybe he'll break out because he has definitely struggled. I wouldn't even say a little bit. He has definitely struggled. He has 12 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and he has a 321 slug and a 627 OPS in the season. He has 19 strikeouts, only 5 walks so far in the season, which is just not what you want to see. It's a lot of swing and miss. I know some of them were called strikes. Some of them, especially the one in game 1, or I think it was game 2, was a pitch off the end, or off the plate there. But he'll be a big factor in the series, where if he can kind of get right and use this as a confidence booster and a way to really figure out his woes at the plate, I think that it'll make it even tougher on the team. But I still think that Pavin will probably get that call, which is unfortunate. But there's only so much complaining we can do about Pavin Smith, and most of it's out of our control. But like I said, moving on as we do our series preview here, we do have 4 against the Colorado Rockies in the hell factor that is Coors Field, especially with our bullpen. Even a 4-run lead feels like a tie game or a 1-run lead. Game 1 is going to be Erod, who is 4-7 with the 5.68 ERA, going up against Blaylock. We faced him in the last series, so we'll get to see him again. He's 1-3 with a 7.89 ERA, so hopefully we can kind of touch him up a little bit because Erod will need all the run support he can get. Brandon Pfaadt, who is 12-7 with a 5.03 ERA, going up against Gordon, who's 2-5 with an 8.37 ERA. My goodness, looking at any Rocky stats is just depressing. I'm not even a Rockies fan. Game 3 on Saturday will be Ryan Nelson, who's 6-3 with a 3.46 ERA, going up against Chase Dolander, who's 2-9, 6.35. But he is a pretty solid pitcher for the Rockies, one of their top pitching prospects. We saw him a little while ago, I believe, back in March. I believe no, back in May. I'm sorry, back in May. We saw him on that Sunday game when the Dbacks won 1-0. And then Sunday's game it's to be decided. There's no actual set starters, so we'll probably know more either on Friday or Saturday who is going to be going for us and who's going to be going for the Rockies. But either way, it is going to be, I would say, daunting because, again, looking at some of the ERA, like every single one of the Rocky starters, it's over 6 with one of them in 7, one of them in the 8. So if we can, again, just take advantage of the bullpen can just be what it was here in this series against the Rangers. Because, again, they've been pretty decent as of late. I know you mentioned earlier Kaplan, maybe not even giving credit to him, but just the pitching itself has been pretty solid as of late.
This
Since
fan base will never give credit to Kaplan. Are you
Oh,
kidding
never,
me?
no, not at all. But either way, if
three solid guys get Tommy John, no way.
yeah, if they can just pitch the way they have been this last series or two, because again, even against the Padres, they did pretty solid. If they can just pitch this way, I'm fairly confident that, again, a series win would only have them a game under 500. A sweep would have them a game over 500. And at worst, it's got to be a series win. Like, we can't be picking up this momentum going into Colorado and then either split the series or drop the series, because then, again, the schedule does not get any easier. If this team does want to give us any kind of blind copium, we need them to, again, win. But a sweep would be absolutely ideal, and the playoffs would be so fucking back on the menu, boys. But again, it's Colorado. It is the most chaotic ballpark to ever watch a game in every single time. Like, I'm literally not even safe. I'm not even comfortable watching the game. If it's 7-0 D-backs in the fourth, don't care. It's a one-run game for the rest of the game until the final out is recorded, and I will not trust them. But looking at the pitching matchups, whether it's even looking at kind of like Gabe's prediction with Locklear, what's some predictions that you might have for the series coming up? Maybe some players that you're going to be keeping your eye on, whether it's a guy like Locklear, maybe a different hitter, or even a pitcher that you have kind of in your crosshairs. What are you looking forward to in this next series against the Colorado Rockies?
I think that we're going to make a transaction, because I think that's why there's no starter announced for Sunday, because we don't have a
DeSclafani is hurt now, yeah.
So my prediction on that is Bryce Jarvis. I think Bryce Jarvis is the likely candidate to come up for that, unless they want to do a bullpen game. Maybe they bring Brandon Garcia. Oh shoot! What? Okay, that was interesting. No, I that's probably what's going to happen. Is Bryce Jarvis. No one else makes sense in that one. But in terms of like a breakout in this series, I'm going ADC. I think ADC is going to have a good series. He's been playing really, really well since he started playing every day. Shocker. Yeah, play your young guys every day, and they tend to start to hit well. My only concern is that when Gabby's ready, they send him down and not Jose Herrera, because they love the way that he calls games. But we didn't really talk about it. The home plate umpire on Tuesday, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. The ump scorecard had almost 2 more runs credited because of his freaking zone.
That's
That's
almost
insane.
unseen. That's almost unheard of. It's usually like maybe half a run or a run.
Yeah, but it was like 1.85. I'm like, that's awful. And in the ninth inning, Torrey had enough, because he called, I think, was it Perdomo got called on a strike 3 below the zone, and Torrey was like, that's enough. And he just walked out there, and he wasn't even out there for 15 seconds, and he got tossed.
Yeah, shout out for Ketel also going there and getting Perdomo, because Perdomo looked like he was ready to argue. And Ketel literally went and got him, and he's like, nope. You can't get thrown out. Torrey can. Like, Torrey can get thrown out. You getting thrown out doesn't help this team at all.
And then Ketel's like, you know what? I got this. And it's the thing that we always complain with Ketel, is he's swinging too hard. But when he hits it, we saw what happened. He hits it very, very far. He does have that very powerful swing. So,
Yeah, it is also kind of funny the difference between like Ketel when he's swinging hard like that. He looks like he's putting all of it into it, and he does hit it really far, 445. But then Corbin on the other hand looks like sometimes he barely has to put effort into it, and it sends it almost like the same distance like that one against the Rockies last series. Like that's what about like the sneaky pop from Corbin, or like again Ketel has a pop no matter what, but it really looks like he like puts his full body and his full ass in there, and again, that's our big booty right there, Ketel, but. Corbin just has just some insane bat speed and insane pop, but both of them can
But
send the ball flying far.
I think if you don't sweep, it's a major missed opportunity because I think with a sweep you make some serious ground on the Reds and the Cardinals, who are the two teams ahead of you right now. Because we're tied with the Giants, but we have the tiebreaker. So we're ahead of the Giants in the standings right now. We are no longer in fourth place in the NL West. We are third, and in the wild card, we're 1.5 games behind the Cardinals, but we're 4.5 behind the Reds. So I think a sweep would be huge for this team. I think the fan base would really start to consider, wait, could they actually do this? Because the Reds play the Brewers, who've won 12 in a row, by the way. Brewers are just insane right now.
They are
And the
playing great ball.
Cardinals play the Yankees, though. So that's a toss-up. Yankees just played the Twins, and I don't know if the Twins have an actual Major League quality roster because they literally traded like 35% around the trade deadline. So again, I'd be okay with the series winning 3 or 4, but I think a sweep would be massive. It would really, like, the people that stopped watching would be like, oh, you're back over 500, which is the first goal that we want them to meet. Is,
So
okay,
big
you
league
got over 500.
and every other Arizona sports talk show host.
Yeah. Get over 500, then you can seriously consider talking about sneaking your way in to that wild card. But you really need the other teams in front of you to kind of been playing subpar baseball like they have been. Like the Mets have been just awful.
That's been dog ass.
And we brought it up really at the beginning of the show. Like we thought, oh, wild card at least 90 wins. It could be 86 to 87 wins, and I think that is doable right now. I really, really, really do. And Bubba brings up with the Brewers. I will not believe in the Brewers until you win a playoff series. I don't care what you do in the regular season. Like
Was their last playoff series win against us in 2011?
I think it was.
No, because they didn't they go up against the Dodgers in the NLCS, or was it the DS?
No. So they lost in 2017.
Well, in 2017, but I thought they went to. God, when was? I guess we'll have to look it up. But I thought they had a more recent series win in the playoffs than against us in 2011. Which again, still fuck you, Niger Morgan, Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, you cheating lying asshole.
All right. So 2024, lost to the Mets. 23 lost to us. They lost in 4 and 21. They lost 2 games in 20. So it looks like the last time they won a playoff series was 2018. That's why I don't like.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2018. I believe that was the year they played the Dodgers, because I think they won a series and then lost to the Dodgers after.
So which I'm like, that's why it doesn't matter what you do, and as that fan base, they probably think that they're probably on high. Like they're like, oh, there's no way that we don't go far. I mean, you don't have to play in the wild card. That's nice, but what if you lose in the NLDS? Yeah. As Scott says, regular season record means nothing once the off start. It really doesn't. It's really start from scratch. Like we are a prime example of that in 23. We snuck in. Everyone's like, oh, they're like gave us not a shot against the Brewers, and we got to the World Series. Playing your best ball at the right time is really what it is.
Yeah, I think this will be the probably the biggest key factor, especially because even like Scott's saying, the sweep of the Rockies, winning 2 or 3 against the Guardians would be absolutely massive. That would put them 2 games over 500. I believe, and then going into kind of what they have the rest of the schedule. Again, yes, the Giants are playing bad right now, but against a divisional opponent, again, even with the Rockies have been playing well as of late too. I believe they've won 3 in a row. So they're not going to be any slouch, especially in Coors Field, like I said earlier. No lead is safe. You never know what kind of game you're going to get there. But this would be a really big confidence booster and would really be nice to see them kind of have that fire lit underneath them where it's like, hey, you know what? We can be this year's Tigers. We can have our GM sell where maybe we're not going to, obviously we can't go and trade for anybody, but maybe we can get a guy like Dre Jameson back and healthy and then, add him to the bullpen. And like Hazen usually says for guys returning from the IL, it's basically as good as a trade. And they can just use that kind of energy to catapult themselves to, even if we don't make the playoffs, it would be nice to see them be like a game or two out of the wild card the rest of the way there and be a spoiler. Maybe they can, especially going into the way the standings are right now, maybe they could be the reason why the Dodgers lose a division. While it would suck to see the Padres and those ringless bums down there in a beautiful ballpark win the division, I think it'd be absolutely hilarious to see the Dodgers blow it, especially because Blake Harris, a very popular Dodgers reporter, had a tweet on June 30th saying on June 14th the Dodgers were tied for the Giants for first place in the NL West after beginning the month 5-7. Just 2 weeks later, the Dodgers have a 7-game lead on the division. Just like that, division looks all but wrapped up, and that is absolutely hilarious. Unfortunate. Baseball images that precede unfortunate events easily. Got them on a screenshot there because the Dodgers. I guess Ohtani's been too worried about making sure he's scamming people in Hawaii. Making sure he's going to blame it on Ipe somehow once again. And if I had a nickel, I know I'm stealing this tweet from Twitter, but if I had a nickel for every time that Shohei Ohtani was involved in some kind of like money scandal, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's very weird that it's happened twice already. But somehow they'll find a way to blame it on either his agent or his translator. But either way, it'd be funny to see the Dbacks be a big factor again in. Maybe it's either a downfall of the Dodgers or, again, even better, maybe we spoil the Padres' chances of winning the division. Either way, if we can just play spoiler in some sort of fashion.
I hate that team so much.
It's just because of the last few years, man. Like even in 23 when I went to see them down in that doubleheader in August when they moved the Sunday game to a Saturday game. Like in between games, we had to leave the stadium so they can clean it up before the second game goes on. And I'd say 95% of the Padre fans there that I interacted with, maybe even closer to 98, and even a good majority of the ones that I know online, like my boy Nick, he's a super chill Padres fan. But like one of the dudes walked up and he went to shake my hand, good game, and I was gonna be like, hey, good game, man. That was a pretty close one. You guys are still a solid team. This has been a fun series. Nice ballpark. I was gonna be very nice back, and then immediately went for the fake handshake and then just flipped me off. I'm like, okay, fucking loser. All right, dummy. I hope you never win anything else. You guys don't deserve anything. You guys don't deserve anything good. And yes, I'm being a hater, and I'll never root for.
You could do that with any fan base, though. We know there's plenty within our fan base that would do that exact same thing.
And that's the point, is other teams probably think the same about us after 2023, which is very fair. Phillies fans probably hate the fuck out of us, especially because I know I went on a bunch of gloating sprees after we beat them in 23. But again, that's what it is. If you hate me, cool. I'm gonna hate the Padres, and I hope they never win anything. And if they do, then at least it's finally time after 100 years of being a team, 75 years of being a team, something like that. A blind stupid squirrel eventually finds a nut at some point, but. Any other final thoughts here? Maybe in regards to the Rangers series or in the series, obviously that we're looking at here in Colorado coming up.
No, just play well. It just seems like every series we're talking about the fact that Torrey makes a questionable decision that costs the team the game, and it's really getting annoying. Again, I'm not a Tory defender, but I'm not a Tory hater, which I think people think you have to be one or the other. You have to be a Tory supporter or you have to hate him with every fiber in your being, which I'm like, no. I can say that he makes bad decisions because he does.
But I can also say that the clubhouse, he hasn't lost the clubhouse. They haven't given up on him. He still obviously has the support of his players. But again, you can be, I've said it all the last 2 years, you can criticize a manager's decisions without wanting or thinking they should be fired.
Exactly. I just think that they like playing for him. I truly think that's what it like. They just enjoy. He just sometimes he makes questionable decisions, like having Jose Herrera still start like 3 times a week or 2 times a week. Just blows my mind. But maybe he's starting to learn from it because we have seen ADC playing catcher some, and that was one thing that I loved on the broadcast is that ADC chose to kind of cozy up to McCann and not Herrera, which just shows that he knows. Oh, this guy's been a veteran in this league for a long time. I should learn his secrets.
Yeah, I also think again that could be part of it. I think it's more of just like he's the newer guy. Like he probably hasn't had a chance to meet McCann yet, so he's probably picking his brain. Like, not saying that Jose doesn't know, because again, Jose's been maybe not in the majors as long, but he's been around long. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about pitchers liking him, so he probably already knows Herrera and has picked his brain over. So it's probably more of him just being like, hey, I'm still new to you. I don't know you as much. I want to talk to you, pick your brain. Probably the same. Like, you make a good point. He has been in the veteran a little bit longer, but maybe not be as, or maybe I don't think it's necessarily as much as us fans probably think, where it's like, yes, even he knows Jose is ass. No, I think it's just he's the newer guy on the team, so he's trying to get more familiar with him. And again, just like with a lot of things in life, you can never go wrong with kind of learning some new skills, maybe some new mindsets from other people that have maybe had a different point of view or a different look at certain things, especially when it comes to being a major league catcher. But yeah, it was a good series overall. Again, it sucks that it could have been a sweep. It was very weird seeing Merrill Kelly in a Rangers uniform, but it was nice to see him still pitch well. Because again, I still root for Merrill Kelly, and there was some comments where it does sound like, obviously he's still, I know he mentioned it before, it does sound like he's still very open to coming back here in the offseason. But I did like there's two comments from him that I guess one I thought was pretty funny, and one I not like didn't like, where I'm like, oh, screw you, Merrill. But one of them, a lot of people online were like, okay, I think he said, well, if you can't beat him, join him, obviously in reference to us losing the 2023 Fall Classic to the Rangers. But I think he was saying when he first got there, was getting like a tour of the clubhouse and like the stadium, and he finally walked out of the clubhouse, and like right there on the right or the left, whatever side it is, like right by the clubhouse door, was a photo of Corey Seager's home run off Paul Sewald, and he's like, yep, okay. And I was like, yeah, we're all still the same, Merrill. We all still have nightmare PTSD flashbacks to that series. I wish I lived in the universe where we walked Corey Seager instead, but
right. Hey,
either way, it's been an absolute blast. Scott, I don't know about the Brandon or Gabe, but I will be there at the Wednesday game against the Guardians. Going to be taking my son to his first game with my parents.
Monday and Tuesday probably. So ask us again on our next episode, which should be on Sunday.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely figure out the plans, because again, I won't be there Monday or Tuesday, but I'm gonna be there Wednesday, taking my son to his first game with my parents. Gotta get him started young. Gotta show him the true way of you're gonna be born and raised a Dbacks fan. You're not gonna be a goddamn transplant fan other than the Packers. Like, that's okay. That's my team, but. Yeah, so it's going to be, hopefully we have a lot more fun to talk about on Sunday, especially if we can talk about a sweep. I think we'll probably be way more hyped up on the hopium and the copium, and playoffs will be so fucking back on the menus. But in the meantime, make sure you guys go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, again, especially a lot of banger memes and whatnot. If you have not gone to our Instagram or on our Twitter, again, make sure you check out the collab post that or the collab graphic that our man Josh did with Bubba. Bubba absolutely cooks with a lot of great graphics, so it's nice to finally do a collab with him, because that Blaze, I'm not sure if it was your dad. I know you replied to him in Instagram saying Pops, so I wasn't sure if that was your actual dad. But I do agree that graphic would go absolutely nuts as a shirt, and that would be super cool. So make sure you guys go on over to our socials, check that out, follow us there. If you're either in the description down below, or if you're on the socials, especially Twitter, make sure you join the Discord. It's absolutely free. What are you doing? Why are you not in there yet? Join on in, hop in, say what's up to us. Always feel free if you guys have questions too throughout the weeks in between shows and whatnot. Add us, just hit the @ and then whatever our Discord name pops up, and then just add us if you have questions or whatnot. Or like I said, if you're curious if we're going to games and all that. And then as always, make sure you guys go over to the azsnakepit.com DBacks.com website. Like I said, daily articles, recaps. There's game day threads. Our man Josh does a lot of great written content too. So if you're looking for a little bit more dispatch in life outside of the podcast here, we have some written content over there, and Josh does an absolutely great job. He's got some. I feel like whenever whoever's doing the recaps, whether it's me or Josh, we do a good job of putting a little bit of humor in there. So it's not just, a dry, bland
Dad
baseball
jokes,
article.
yay!
Yeah. Dad jokes indeed. Me and Josh are the dad jokes powers. So speaking of, Josh in here, reverse transplant with the AZ of the Green Bay fan. You're goddamn right. Because at least that way, I can show him some Super Bowl highlights of actually winning a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, that's a low blow. I apologize.
Is it a low blow when you do it all the damn time?
I guess maybe a little bit, but either way, we appreciate all you guys tuning on in here again. Follow us on socials. Leave us a rating if you're on Apple or Spotify. Like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube, and go over to the azsnakebit.com. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic rest of your week and start to your weekend, and we'll catch you guys on Sunday, hopefully to discuss a D-backs win, maybe even better, a sweep. You guys have a good one. Take it easy. Peace.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Tears a heap, but we own this town. Brett and Gabe on the call, with Josh in the back, bringing it